Well, hello everyone. We are live streaming again on Facebook, LinkedIn, and also YouTube. 3 platforms, 1 Zoom call, and I am here with no agenda, no slides, no presentation. I have no sales pitch. I am simply here to be of value and to be of service. If you are interested in engaging in conversation with me about any topic, I invite you to ask me anything. And the way to do that is by going to cliffravenscraft.com/join. Join me live on a Zoom call. I'll bring you up on the thing here and we can engage. I just want to let you know that that's exactly what this is all about. But if you do not want to engage, it's not a problem. I'm going to sit here and just look awkward until somebody wants to engage with me. But I am looking for real, meaningful, deep conversation about things way below the surface. I simply want to talk about things that matter. And of course, that's whatever matters to you. You can ask me any question on any topic, and that's what we're here for. So take as long as you need. cliffravenscraft.com/join. That you'll see a little link there. It'll open up the Zoom call. You can turn on your camera. I can drag and drop you over top of mine and my video here, and we can engage and have some dialogue. It's an opportunity if you'd ever wanted to get some free coaching from me. There's no strings attached. There's no expectation. There's no pressure for anything. So that's what I'm here for. I'm going to sit in silence as I wait for the first person to engage with me. I moved my garbage can, so I will just leave my empty can of soft drink over there. And with that, so I guess I'll do a little bit of a monologue for a bit for anybody who might be watching the replay later. This is something that happened to me in the early days of the Clubhouse app when I first began hosting rooms titled, "How May I Serve You? Ask Me Anything." And I would sometimes sit awkwardly in a room all by myself for as long, sometimes as it took occasionally about 10, 15, 20 minutes. Usually not more than 5 or 6 or 7 minutes before the first person would engage with me. But occasionally during those first 20 minutes or up to 20 minutes, people would pop into the room and I'd just be sitting up there inviting people, telling people what the room is all about, and then having them occasionally pop out of the room, pop back in the room, all this stuff. I'm not here so much to impress anyone, so I'm not concerned about looking awkward, but I just want to let you know what I'm doing. If you head over to cliffravenscraft.com/join, it's pretty straightforward. Matter of fact, I'll head over there now and just read it to you just in case you want to join me here. So cliffravenscraft.com/join. And it says over here, "How may I serve you today? Ask me anything. Join me live, an open space for real conversation." I'm holding an open space for another session of How May I Serve You? Ask Me Anything. No teaching, no slides, no agenda, just a Zoom room with a live stream. This is a space for connection, curiosity, and presence. If you're navigating a life decision, building something meaningful, or simply seeking a conversation that goes deeper, you're invited. Come as you are, ask me anything, or simply listen in. We have one person on the Zoom call right now. He mentioned that he's been following my journey for the past 15 years and he wants to remain anonymous. So he's just sitting there listening in, and excited to have him do so. There is no pressure to engage or involve yourself into the actual live stream itself, although he is raising his hand. So did you want to come up?
Well, if you're inviting me up, I will certainly I will come up and ask a question.
All right. Well, hold
You
on one
say
second. Let, let,
deep.
me, let me do this real quick. I'm
Sure.
going to bring you here, and I just want to fix this real fast. Let's do 16 by 9.
Oh,
What
you
is
got
the...
my, yeah, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, so I got that.
It's really live and in the moment.
It is
Oh, now you're
live.
hidden.
Yeah, so it's live and in the moment, but I also the other day I saw this and I had I was playing around with the edges, the border. There we go. The border is that border width, radius. There we go. Ah, that looks better. All right. So,
So I
sir,
wanted to just say, go ahead.
gentleman who shall remain nameless, the voice. How
I
can I
am
be
the
of service
voice.
to you?
I just had to look it up, and I am going to ask a question,
Okay,
but I
great.
had to look it up because I'd been listening to your podcast as the podcast Answer Man for many, many years. You've obviously become much bigger than just podcast Answer Man with so many different things and journeys that you're on, which is beautiful because I followed some of those also. Just as a point of history, it was March 6th of 2012 when I purchased your program. I looked it up in my Gmail account and there it was. So I've been with you much longer, but have followed and joined and participated in your services since that time also. My question is not necessarily as deep as what I'm not sure what you're asking when you say that, but I'm thinking about spinning up a new medium, a new service, because I speak about things that deal with the ethical and honest side of understanding and learning blockchain technologies. That's the new show that I'm going to be spinning up. Is there anything or direction that you would point me in the future? Obviously, what I learned from you many years ago lasts for almost, wow, 2012. Yeah, so it lasts for a long time. I that's a long time. So I had a show for a long time. I haven't done anything for many, many years. It's been probably, I couldn't even tell you when the last time I took it offline. Is there anything, any journey, any point, any topic that has changed that if I were to mirror what I did before, obviously topically it's different, that you would suggest that I would go on, that a journey that I should take to discover?
It's such an open-ended question. What I'd like to ask you is there any specific thing you attempted to achieve the last time you podcasted and you weren't able to and that you're hoping to do? Or is there something that you did attain in your last experience with your podcasting that you're hoping to duplicate, and maybe we can see if I can get to the heart of the meat of the question here.
No, I think it's more in general. It's only because I've been encouraged to restart a show. I didn't end the show just because of life experience, end on a bad note. My podcast had generally been centered around information and education in specific fields that are unique. And I had great, I would believe, success having it run so long. People enjoyed it, right? So that was something where I used to have entertainment. It's just when I'm restarting it now, if I plan for, prepare for, climate has changed, has the medium changed, is there some other journey that I should take to get my message out? That's against, I guess, my question. I don't want to waste your time. But that's kind of an open, you're right, it is an open question anyway.
Yeah,
So
I'm getting the feel for what you're asking. And some as you explain all of that, I have some thoughts that come to my mind. First of all, you're not wasting my
sure.
time. I literally it is ask me anything. And if things get too surface level, I'll take it deeper. And if the hot seat from my questions get too hot, you can always say, you know what, I'll tap out here, Cliff, if that's okay. But
Mhm.
I'll stay here at the surface and until anybody else wants to join us here for this live session on Zoom. So just head over to cliffravenscraft.com/join. Okay, so to answer your question, yes, the space has changed. Obviously, with the attention spans today, given that there's a lot of conditioning with short form content, whether it's TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, vertical video has been, I think, the new hot attention getter, if you will. So before there was TikTok, before we were all scrolling up, down, up and up and up and endlessly on vertical videos, there was still YouTube and there was still video content, but quite frankly, it was audio podcasts were that place you could go and have genuine content where every episode that you produce, if you had a topic that was of interest to the audience, a large number of people would consume it, hit play, never miss an episode. Doesn't matter how long it is, as long as the information is valuable or entertaining, encouraging, all that stuff. Whereas today, if you're an audio-only podcast, you're really only tapping into the super diehard people. And whether that's super diehard into the niche topic for which you are creating content around, or it's super hardcore fans of you as a content creator. Whereas not a lot of people today are out there. It's like, I'm really passionate about a topic and I'm wondering if there's an audio only podcast I can consume today and listen to episodes that are anywhere between 45 minutes and more. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but it does not happen as frequently as it did back in the day. As a result of that, a majority of audio-only podcasters not all of them are saying it out loud, but I happen to know that it's across the board. There's a very small percentage in the number of people who are still consistently downloading and consuming audio-only content. Now, some of that has been offset by the fact that many of them have discerned that there's an opportunity to create your content in video form as well and have a version of it on YouTube. And so a majority of the, I would say, most successful, most popular podcasts today that have an audio-only format, really today they are a video-first piece of content, and the video-first portion of it isn't always technically a podcast. So what I mean by that, a podcast in my mind is a piece of digital media that can be subscribed to and delivered via an RSS feed. So today it's very common. I don't make any arguments about it, but there's a lot of people out there who have never had an audio podcast. They've never set up an RSS feed for somebody to subscribe and have it delivered via an RSS feed to any podcast software. And yet they launched a channel on YouTube, threw up a couple of cameras and have lots of chats, and they have a consistent episodic kind of content schedule, and they call themselves a podcast. Again, I'm not here to say, that those people don't have a podcast, except that it doesn't fit the definition. However, several of those that really take off end up either creating both a video and audio feed for their podcast. Like, for example, I know Leo Laporte has audio-only feeds and video-only feeds of his podcast that you can subscribe via any of the podcasting apps via RSS. Whereas there's a lot of podcasts out there, and I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure like Lex Friedman or Joe Rogan. Actually, Joe Rogan I think is via RSS, but it's actually only on Spotify. So one could argue, I don't know, I think maybe that might be available via RSS. Anyway, Lex Friedman, I know, as far as I can recall, I can watch his 3-hour podcast interview, or let's say just say show, where he's interviewing this guy that he knows in the Amazon jungle. And there on YouTube, I can watch the entire video production of it. Whereas if I subscribe to the podcast, it's only audio only. And there are times when that's great, except for the fact that sometimes those podcasts, those conversations refer to things. It's like, oh, here, I brought you this. And then the host of the show is like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like this. And of course, they're not giving any attention at all to the fact that there's a number of people out there who might be subscribed via an audio only podcast. And so there's some complexities about making, the platform, you've got this audience where some of them have the privilege and benefit of seeing what it is that you're talking about. And then you have those who, if they want, they actually have to stop listening where they are, go and find the video version of it, fast forward to and find that section of the thing to see what you're talking about. And so those kind of things have kind of muddied the waters a little bit. I would say a majority of people who are launching a podcast today, unless they're absolutely scared to death of showing up on video or have any other reason why the technology side of actually having a video version of the podcast is not something they want to do, I would say a majority of people today, if they were going to launch a podcast, they're probably going to launch something that looks great as a video first piece of content. And my recommendation for them, that if you ever mention anything in your podcast where it's on, where somebody can see something on camera, that you would either describe it thoroughly, or I would encourage you, if it happens often, create both a audio only RSS feed and a video only RSS feed where people can subscribe to your show. Diary of a CEO, I think it's DOC. I don't know the guy's name, but he has a video first YouTube channel and a show where he interviews people. But you can actually go into your favorite podcast app of choice and you could actually subscribe to his audio only feed or his video feed. And so the interesting thing, even with those people, and some of them have large staffs because they actually have a massive audience in the millions and they have an entire team of people that work for them. Even then, when I was listening and subscribing to the Diary of a CEO for a bit, I noticed that sometimes there were episodes missing in one or the other feed. And I don't know how that gets dropped and missed and stuff like that, but it does complicate things. So does that answer your question as to some of the things that I've witnessed and seen changed over the years?
Yeah, I think it does. It helps. In what's great is that since the 2015 time, I've been doing video on YouTube, usually using an avatar, even having a group that I've been doing with some people, explaining things, talking about the current news and those kinds of things. Not very big, but most of my tutorial videos do get a lot of views, but it's a one-time use. Obviously, if you have a problem you're trying to get through, it's like old days when we would set up Audacity and you'd have some tutorial, you'd watch that video once, you wouldn't need to watch it again. So a lot of my tutorial videos are solving a problem, where my podcast was much more evergreen technology or evergreen information. So I think what I have to do is sort of blend the two and bring them together. I don't mind doing the YouTube videos, especially from a tutorial aspect, but I can also bring in other things, that maybe other ideas that I would have used in a past industry. But yeah, I think that's very helpful. Especially, I don't use Instagram or TikTok or any of those kinds of things. But if I could make shorts for those, and also the shorts for YouTube, it sounds like YouTube is the place still to be from what you had described before anything else. Obviously, I know how to manage RSS
for long
feeds.
form
Yeah.
video, that would be the case. So
Yeah.
long form video, YouTube is the place to be. However, there's a ton of people who have long form video content, and I'm
Sure.
not subscribed to their YouTube channel at all. But man, I see their content all the time in 60 to 60 second, 1 to 3 minute video clips on TikTok. So
Sure.
I happen to know that they have a YouTube channel. I have zero interest in their long form content, but man, I really do enjoy the stuff they're putting out on TikTok. So
Well,
in
you
many
also
cases,
mentioned,
yeah.
yeah, I was just say, you mentioned Stephen Bartlett and you mentioned Lex Friedman. Of course, those are massive, and they can have snippets,
Yeah.
a special quote from one person, and that can draw your attention and maybe drive it to your longer form podcast. My audio podcasts were roughly 45 minutes on average, where my videos for tutorials are usually max I would say 5 to maybe 8 minutes, and even that's long because it's just a tutorial to walk you through. I think the longest one I have is 30 minutes, but that's detailed. But they work. I think I just need to blend the two and maybe stretch in other areas to create this new brand, essentially.
Yeah.
Create this new brand. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I wish you great success with it. And anytime I can be of support or encouragement to you, you're welcome to join me on any of these Ask Me Anything sessions.
Thanks, Cliff. I appreciate it.
All right. Many blessings.
Thanks.
All right. We will, let's see, bring that off the screen there. And then I see that Alex has joined once again. Hello, Alex. Good to see you here today. If you want to join me up here on Zoom, for the live stream to ask me anything, feel free to just turn your camera on. I'll bring you up and we can chat, but there's no pressure to do so. If you're just here to observe, that's perfectly fine as well. And with that being said, I just want to say if anybody is tuning in to the live stream, I am hosting a live Zoom call where you could ask me anything. Literally any topic. I enjoy being of support and or encouragement. I'm not here to sell anything. I'm not teaching anything today. I have no agenda, no sales pitch. I'm just here to be fully present with you if you could use any support and or encouragement in any area of life. And with that, I'm just going to sit here and be silent for a bit and see if anything happens. So with that, let's just sit in awkward silence together. Actually, it's not awkward. Let's just sit in silence together. Maybe I should find some music that I could play. See if I have anything on my Rodecaster. I don't have any music on my Rodecaster. That's all right. Let's see here. So we've got Alex is here. The Voice is on Zoom. And we got a couple people streaming on each of the platforms. If you'd like to join, all you need to do is simply go over to cliffravenscraft.com/join, and that'll bring you in via Zoom. Let's see here. I do see there's some comments that have come in. Let's just see if we can throw those up here. Marco says, "Hey, Cliff." Hello, Marco. Great to have you here. Somebody very special in my life. That's my mom, Mary Lou Lilly. Hello, Mom. Good to see you here. And let's see, Alex, who is on here on Zoom. Would that bring that up if I actually do it this way? Let's try that. Hi, Cliff. I'm just listening in today. You helped me on Tuesday with my struggle to get in front of engineering executives. I remember that. Based out on your advice, I've already scheduled calls with 2 people so far who derive all of their income from corporate training. Thanks. Well, Alex, thank you so much. I see you on camera there, by the way. Hello. But thank you. I'm glad to hear the update that you're already following through on the feedback that you got. That's awesome. Let me check into LinkedIn, by the way, because LinkedIn's comments don't come through here. Where is this live stream? So this is happening right now. Let's go click more and see if there are any comments on mute LinkedIn. Nope, no comments on the LinkedIn stream yet. So interestingly, okay, there's a little side note for myself here, kind of as I think through this scheduling of when I do these live sessions. It occurs to me that when I went live with almost no advanced notice on Tuesday at 1:00, people showed up and I had instant conversations. At 3:30 in the afternoon, I had instant conversations. We went for 90 minutes. Wednesday afternoon from 3:30 all the way to 6:30, we had 3 hours. We had 6 people, 4 incredibly deep conversations, which, by the way, is now in episode 772 of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. So that was fun. And being that it was Wednesday afternoon, lots of people. And I'm sitting here thinking, what's different today? And then, of course, I realize it's Friday. I wonder if that is having any level of impact on whether or not people are going to pop in. However, there are several people who are streaming live. So I see that you're out there. And there's no pressure to do so. But if any of you, actually, a couple more people just popped in. So if you would like to engage with me, if there's any way that I could be of support and or encouragement to you, you could ask me anything on any topic. I would love to be of support and encouragement to you. All you need to do is head over to cliffravenscraft.com/join. And there's a little button there. You can join me on Zoom. I'll bring you up here and we'll engage with one another. So that's what I'm here to do. Not teaching, no sales pressure, no anything, no agenda, no slides, just here to be of service. I love the idea of divine appointments, just saying, oh my gosh, I just saw you streaming. What an opportunity. Let's have a conversation. And if that happens, that happens. And if it doesn't happen, it's not a big deal. Meanwhile, I'm going to click over here since I'm on LinkedIn, and I see that I have 3 messages in LinkedIn. Robert. Yeah, I don't see anything else happening here. So I'm gonna take a moment to myself here and read some of my messages that are in my LinkedIn box. Awesome. So there is a great invitation to be a guest on somebody's podcast. So I'm going to say, Robert, I would be delighted to be a guest on your podcast to discuss the various pivots I've made in my business journey. Let's see here. Journey. Do you have a link where you'd like me to schedule a time for us for our conversation? Question mark. Hit send. Boom. Done. Alrighty. So yeah. All right. I think we have about the same number of people. So I'm just gonna. I figure how may I serve you? It says it up there. How may I serve you today? Ask me anything. Join me. cliffravenscraft.com/join. And then if they click on that or go to that, then they can read what this is all about. Let's see here. I got another message that says, Cliff, time with you yesterday was amazing. Thank you, Ramon. I really enjoyed enjoyed the opportunity to Ramon. All right, so I'm going to hit send on that. And then Alicia, I love that. So honored. I think I'm caught up on LinkedIn messages. All right, just going to say it again here real fast. I'm looking to recreate what I used to do on Clubhouse. Some of you may have not known me back then, but back on Clubhouse, I would just open up a room and it was titled, How May I Serve You? Ask Me Anything. And I would just sit there, sometimes in silence, all by myself, or like I'm doing here on Zoom. We've got a Zoom meeting open here, and there are 2 individuals logged into Zoom, and they're just casually sitting by observing the live call. However, what I'm looking for, if anybody is interested, if you happen to be one of those people that for some reason, maybe you're the reason why I felt inspired to schedule yet a 3rd of these sessions this week, and you happen to be streaming through and going through on your social media feed and you see me live and you're like, I'd love to ask Cliff a question. Well, all you need to do is go to cliffravenscraft.com/join and we can make it happen. All right, so let's see here. I see another thing here. This is your pal Dan. How much has that PR40 mic made you in your journey? I have had one as long as you, and it's because of you as to why I have it. Awesome. That is amazing. So the question is, how much has that PR40 mic made you in your journey? Well, I guess it would depend on what is it directly, indirectly? I can tell you right now that I have earned well over $100,000 in direct income just from selling the high LPR 40 microphone alone. Yeah, at least $100,000 in that. And yeah, because I used to sell equipment packages. But then if you think about, just all of the content that I've created, and then indirectly, as a result of the content that I've created, the amount of sponsors and or the amount of clients and or speaking engagements that I got because of the content that I was creating, and all of it speaking into this microphone, if you're talking, that would be in the millions. All right. So over here on LinkedIn, I have a link to schedule my podcast interview that I was reading about here earlier. And I'm going to see if I can't schedule it for after my vacation. So there's June and there's July. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. I don't see anybody else logging into Zoom just yet. So also, how do I go in here and take that? There we go. Take that off the screen. All right, let me look at my calendar. And we will go here. 1, 2, 3. So I get back on Monday the 14th. Let's do. I have a coaching session there. Okay, let's take a look at Tuesday the 15th. What's he got available? Okay, so he's a late afternoon kind of guy. So let's go to Wednesday the 16th. Oh, afternoon stuff is there. Okay, so Wednesday the 16th. And if I've got the Green Room Mastermind until 12:30. I'm going to go ahead and put it right up against the right 30 minutes after the mastermind call. So I'm going to do that. My name is Cliff Ravenscraft. My email address is that. By the way, if anybody's streaming live and you're wondering what I'm up to, it's pretty much all explained at cliffravenscraft.com/join. I've got a live Zoom call here. And if you would like to ask me anything, all you need to do is go and click the button at cliffravenscraft.com/join. You'll be pulled into my Zoom call. You can come up on screen and we can engage. It's an opportunity. I mean, if you've ever wanted to get a coaching session with me, this is a way to ask me anything for free. I'm here to be of service on any topic. All right. So right now I'm sitting here because I don't have anything planned. I'm just going through my LinkedIn inbox, and somebody invited me to be a guest on their podcast, and I'm now filling out their scheduling form. Let's see. Why are we meeting? If you leave this blank, it may be canceled. You invited me to be a guest on your podcast. If we are meeting for the first time, what is your speaker bio? Let's go to cliffravenscraft.com/bio. Has that been updated, by the way? It hasn't, but that's okay. It's good enough. Problem with being an ever-evolving person, my bio is almost consistently out of date. All right, if we are meeting for the first time, where is the URL to your LinkedIn page? You know what? Let's go. It's LinkedIn/in/Cliff Ravenscraft. Okay, what is the goal or outcome of this meeting? To be a guest or to join you out on your podcast. Send text messages to. Well, let's give them a Google Voice number. And that way your text messages will go to my email inbox. Schedule event. All right. Interestingly, let's go over here. So I'm booked for, let's see here. I'm booked for Wednesday, July 16th. I notice, first of all, did I get an opportunity to put that on? Okay, you're scheduled from Calendly, but Calendly did not give me the option to put that on my calendar for some reason. It says a calendar invitation has been sent to your email inbox. Although, there it is. Okay, there's that 1 to 1:15. Okay. So I see there's a chat in Zoom. Let's see what chat in Zoom says. Is that something that pulls up here? Oh, that's what I read earlier today. That was from Alex. We're good. Okay, so I hit yes, and so I'm going to go over to this LinkedIn message. I notice that it's only for 15 minutes. Is this a short podcast format? Or should I plan for a longer conversation? ? Hit send, and that's done. All right, Daniel, I see that you have joined the Zoom call. Would you like to turn on your camera and come and engage with me during the live stream and ask me anything? Is there any way that I can be of support and or encouragement to you?
Well, right now I'm having technical difficulties right now trying to get my camera going. But I am here as soon as I figure it out.
No worries. And are you on a computer or a mobile phone?
I am on a computer.
And is it Windows or Mac?
Windows. Yep.
Okay.
10.
Yeah. And
yep.
so
I didn't have it plugged in when I joined, so I probably have to unjoin and then rejoin.
Yeah. That's what I would do. I would go in and did it pull up Zoom via the web, or is it the Zoom app?
It asked me if I wanted to join via the app.
Okay, so what I would do is I would just go ahead and just close the app, and it'll, of course, pop you out of the room, and then just come back into cliffravenscraft.com/join. I can't wait to chat with you.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
Be right back. Yep.
Fun stuff. Anybody else that's out there, feel free to join us here on the Zoom call. It's your opportunity to ask me anything. I'd love to be of any support and or encouragement to you on any topic. Feel free to join. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. So we do have some more stuff coming in. Let's see what this says here. The copy paste tech. Cliff, what happened to you and your wife's podcast? I used to enjoy that show, but don't see it on YouTube anymore. We actually have a podcast. It's called Building a Life and Business Together. It's the BLBT podcast, Building a Life and Business Together. You can find it at buildingalifeandbusinesstogether.com. Again, that's buildingalifeandbusinesstogether.com. It's not on YouTube. My wife and I have moved the format of our show mostly to we are walking and talking. So we have these digital audio recorders. This is the Tascam DR10L Pro, and it's just a little lav mic, and I have one on and she has one on, and we go out for a walk and we're talking, and that's the format of the show. No video aspect to it, but it's over at Building a Life and Business Together. Thank you so much for your question. And all right, is that Dan? Is that who we were on here before, right?
Yeah, this is me. I don't see my camera though,
That's okay.
unless you have to invite me in. Oh, there I am. Oh
Check you
boy,
out.
bad lighting and everything.
Oh,
Okay.
it's all good, man. I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah.
So go
Here's
ahead.
the PR40.
I
Here's the
love it.
PR40. Yeah,
Were you the one who asked me about the PR40 on YouTube?
I did.
Okay, so
I
that was
did.
you. And
Yep,
it's
that
Daniel,
was me.
right?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Daniel,
Yep.
great to have you here. Okay, this is the first time I truly get to
This is fun.
I get to ask this question for the first time today. Are you ready?
Oh boy. Okay, here we go.
How may I serve you today?
Ooh, that's a good one. I love when you ask that. Yep. Yep. Well, I've been a subscriber to you for a very, very long time, probably all the way back to the very beginning. Been listening to you for a long time. You inspired me to get the Heil PR40 and the Focusrite. Got the package. I don't think I bought it from you though.
That's all
I
right.
can't give you all the credit for that.
That's okay.
But you were the one that inspired me to get this, and just like I asked you, how much has that made you in your life? And I already knew the answer because you never ask a question unless you know the answer, right? So I already knew what you were gonna say because I've been a long time follower and it's done you very, very well, very well. I'm very proud of you, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any way that I could support or encourage you today?
You know what? Your encouragement to me is just being on here asking and talking to us out here.
All right. Well, is there anything in
this is an
particular that
awesome
you would like to
platform.
chat about?
How's your journey going with your weight loss?
It's no longer weight loss. I found it.
Okay. You've made it to the. Yep, I get you. I feel you.
No, seriously. I've gained pretty much a significant, not all of it back, but I gained a significant amount.
Okay.
So my journey was from November 2014 through the latter part of 2020 when they did 2 weeks to slow the spread. So hold on, let's do the math here. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So for 6.5 years, I worked out 6 to 7 days a week, every week. And I got to the place where for the latter 3.5, 4 years, I was working out about 1 to 3.5 or 4 hours a day at the gym. And I considered myself to be an absolute gym rat. And the reason for that is because, well, number one, I would get up and I would commute to the gym and I would listen to some audio training materials. Most of the time it was primarily Tony Robbins related stuff. While I'm at the gym, I'm actually listening to other personal and professional growth related material, absolutely finding ways to integrate all that I'm learning while working out consistently. And then after I finished my workout, I used to go out to my car, sit in the parking lot, and I would record a daily reflection from the front seat. And I would do that as a live stream. And of course, it would be put out as a video blog. And many times it would be turned into a podcast episode. And in those days, I was promoting my live events, such as Free the Dream Conference. And as a result of that just being my lifestyle, and here's the key, as a result of that being my identity, I am a gym rat. I'm a guy who goes to the gym every single day. I had this whole pattern of behavior that was a part of that identity. And so as a result of, you can't work out as much as I did and not see a lot of results as far as where I went. So in November 2014, I weighed about 276 pounds or something like that. And by Free the Dream 2018, I was down in my low 180s. At Free the Dream 2019, I remember specifically I was 179.5, and my goal was to get down to 180. And so, yeah, I was rocking and rolling. Absolute guaranteed success every day. Everything was just on point. And then when COVID happened, what happened was everything in my world, and I do mean everything in my world, shifted, changed. When they said it's 2 weeks to slow the spread and they closed the gym for 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, I can weather this. I'm not used to taking 2 weeks off, but during that 6.5 period of time, there was a handful of times with business travel or I might have had an illness or something like that, such as bronchitis or a cough or whatever. And the doctor says, hey, take a couple days off. I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be so bad. Now, the thing is as you and I both know, as well as anyone that's listening in to this conversation would know, that it went on for more than 2 weeks. And as a result of that, a couple of things happened. Number one, who am I if I'm not the person that I have been for the last 6.5 years? And when I say my identity, like who I am as a psyche, if you understand psychology at all, my entire identity was I go to this place for hours a day, every day. And that was taken away from me. And so here's the thing. I have this beautiful home. We call it the home that podcasting built. We have an entire room that is a workout room. And it's a sizable workout room, and it's got commercial grade exercise equipment in it. Now, there's no reason I couldn't continue to do my workouts in my own home gym. But that wasn't my identity. It wasn't the neuroassociations. It wasn't the patterns that I had created. No, the thing is if you put Cliff Ravenscraft onto the turntable of life and you drop the needle, Cliff's going to the gym. Right? You don't drop the needle and it just takes you to the closest home workout facility. No, Cliff goes to the gym. And well, Cliff wasn't going to the gym when the gym was actually closed every day for months and months and months and months. Not to mention the fact that for the first time in years, I began to get sucked into the mainstream narrative of fear related to the fact that this is going to be like the bubonic plague, and a very high percentage of the world's population is going to drop dead over the. I mean, I may be slightly overestimating what they were saying, but come on, that's really the narrative they were trying to push. It's like, listen, if you don't stay home, you're going to be murdering your parents, and all. It was crazy. So, quite frankly, there were a number of people that I trusted, even in my own life, to be pretty reasonable and level-headed and stuff like that. And they're like, Cliff, I've got friends who are high up in military installation. You need to go buy food and stock up for months. And this is right before the toilet paper crisis of 2020. Ironically, food was never a problem to get, but for some reason, I don't know what it was about the toilet paper. Anyway, I got caught up not only in breaking the pattern of living out my identity as the guy who goes to the gym and works out and health and fitness is my number one priority, to now all of a sudden I sit and watch the coronavirus task force for 1 to 3 hours a day. So I used to pump my brain with 1 to 3 hours a day of positive personal and professional growth. And now all of a sudden I'm pumping my brain in with toxic fear, anxiety, and negative stuff. And that, one of the things that I, looking back, it's real simple to see. I got back involved in some of my old fear-based emotional eating patterns and stuff like that. And then over time, eventually I ended up getting COVID myself, and that knocked me out. And then it was a significant issue for me at the time when I had COVID. And just over a period of time, I never really got back into that groove of going back to that old identity of I work out every day and stuff like that. And so there were fits and starts. I would go and I would work out. I'd work out, and then I'd I'd drop off again, and I would, back and forth, back and forth, and slowly I like I said, I got all the way down to 179.5, but eventually, a couple months into the pandemic, all of a sudden I'm over 200 pounds again. And I'm like, that's okay. I'm going to be able to get this off. I know how to do it. And then all of a sudden I'm like 220s or whatever. And where I am today, I have no I have no embarrassment to tell you that today I weigh 249.5 pounds and I look like this. And it just is what it is.
That's awesome.
And the interesting thing that I can tell you is that I'm absolutely unequivocally in love with who I am and where I am in life. I will say that a lot of my weight loss journey was motivated by my desire to be accepted by others and to be seen as credible by others and to be seen as worthy of their attention by others. And I would not have come to that realization unless I had the experience that I've had. Now, quite frankly, there are other reasons why I was interested in losing that weight, and a lot of them being health-related reasons, and those reasons still exist today. But what I will say is, I just am where I am, and I'm okay with where I am. And I certainly don't feel any pressure to be any different than who I am today. So, what, if anything, does that say to you? What do you take away from all of that?
Well, you've had quite the journey. And like I said, I've been there for most of it. My favorite part was when you used to do those in the car before workout. Yeah, I miss those. I
Yeah.
miss those segments. Those were, as a listener, those were fun to listen to. They really were. They were very inspiring, actually. Um, but yeah, no, you've had quite the journey. And how does what it's amazing. It's amazing how you get to just know a person as you were going through that whole story. I was like, I remember Cliff talking about this. I remember him doing this. Yeah, he was doing that walk that one day, and he was just talking into the microphone on the live stream that one day, and blah blah blah. And man, you have lived it. You've been there, done it, and as a listener to go along, with the ride, it's awesome to be there with you. Um, you're very inspiring, very knowledgeable on every topic. That's why as soon as I saw you were on here, ask me anything. You know a lot of stuff. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's geez, I'm sitting here rambling and now I forgot your question.
My question
Um,
for you, as I share that, what might be a feeling of defeat or embarrassment or anything like that. So let me even just emphasize my
oh,
point even further. I went so far as at my Free the Dream conference in 2018 and 2019, I said, listen, I've discovered the secret on how to control your emotional state, and I've learned how to get yourself to take action on anything that's meaningful and important to you. And I can teach you how to create lifelong change, change that lasts. And I even remember saying things like, I haven't had an ounce of sugar in over 2.5 years, and you'll never see me eat sugar another day in my life. I will tell you right now that since COVID, I've been off of the ketogenic diet, and I eat sugar today. And yet I say all of that to say that I I don't regret any of those things. I understand where I was, and all I can say is I have so much more self-compassion for who I am. And if there's anything that I've learned through this process is I want to be more cautious about being a role model for others as much as I actually want to be more of a voice of support and encouragement, no matter who you are, what you're going with, what your stage in life is. I don't want to presume that I have the answers for anyone, but I tell you, I have lots of experience and I'm willing to speak from it.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, you're kind of asking me, is there any kind of problem that you have? Well, this may seem really insignificant to some people, but it was like how you were a gym rat, and all of a sudden it was taken away from you. I totally get that concept because I've lived in this apartment that I live in for 23 years now, and it's just a small little one-bedroom apartment. Don't need nothing any bigger. I'm good. I was a truck driver at one point in my life, so I'm used to living in small places. But I've been able to feed the birds outside my window. And then one day this year, the people said, "You no longer can do that. Nobody in the building can. You got to get rid of them." So for 23 years, I've been able to feed birds, enjoy watching birds out my window, other than looking at a parking lot. So I totally understand that of, hey, this is something you really enjoy doing, and then all of a sudden, because of, well, COVID, it got taken away from you. So 23 years watching birds taken away, and I've been sitting here trying to think, how can I work this angle? Like, is there somebody I can talk to that can maybe help me, still be able to do the thing that I loved was, I enjoyed feeding them, cleaning, the feeders and that, and everybody coming in and out really enjoyed them too. And I am like, what can I do to, come up with something where I can be able to do that again here where I live? And a year or two ago, I tracked how many different species of birds came to my feeders right here on my little deck, and it was 23 different species.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm like, wow, maybe I could use that, like call the Audubon Society and say, hey, look, this is something, like this got stripped away from me. Is there any way I can get this back in my life? But I've never really pursued it because I'm kind of chicken to do that. So you're asking me like, hey, what could I help you with there?
Well, I have some questions for you then.
Yeah.
So the first question is, have you thought about why it is that it's been taken away from you? So like as I perceive
Yeah.
this, if I think about it outside of your perspective, and is it possible that the birds were seen as a nuisance or even
Yep.
a potential danger for the other residents of your apartment, such that birds can be sometimes territorial, and people are walking from their parking lot into their apartment and these birds are dive bombing them. There are certain
Yeah.
species that will
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
The
There
other
are.
thing is
Yep.
is that nesting is an issue, and sometimes if nesting happens, they could bring pests and or disease or something like that. And so a lot of people might have complained and stuff like that. So before we contemplate, are there things that you can do to try to force the powers to be to allow you to do this once again? Have you given thought as to why people complained in the first place, and have you given consideration to what their desires and their what impact it was having on them?
Yeah, I have. I've actually that's the reason you hit it right on the head. That's why they told us, because there was issues with being a pest, you know, flying at people, whatever,
The dive bombing, I can
the
tell you
dive
right now,
bombing.
I remember as a
Yeah.
kid, my grandparents had a place in upstate New York, and there was a bird that built a nest right above the garage, and
Oh yeah.
and there was a walkway, and I'll tell you right now,
Yeah.
I was terrified to walk out of their cottage upstate New York, because I literally would be dive bombed. I mean, they would,
Yeah.
two or three birds absolutely went to attack me every time I went outside.
Yeah. Yeah, some species will, especially swallows and any bird that's protecting its nest with young, they're gonna protect it anyway. Even I have robins that come out here and they get a little feisty, because their little chicks are just down below. Now they're hatched and they're running around, and oh geez, mother robin will protect them to death, right?
Yeah, which is beautiful,
But
and
no,
also the
yeah,
issue potentially. So
yeah,
that's the first thing is have you considered that? It's obvious that you have. And so
yeah,
then the question is what is your desire? Is your desire to, in spite of the fact that this is a known issue that you're aware of, and which has caused them to really put the hammer down and say, listen, you've got to stop this. Is your desire to override their decision and forget about the issues that are caused to the other residents of your apartment? I want them back. Is that the desired outcome? Or are you open to, how can I actually feed into, if you will, my love of birds outside of bringing them back to my deck?
yeah, yeah. I've thought of both ways. It's pretty much nothing I can really do, but it's
What, when you say it's there's
just
nothing I can
just
do,
there's
Wh-
yeah,
of which one? Because there's two different
it's
things. I want the birds
yeah.
back on my deck.
I I want the birds back. There's really nothing I can't really go anywhere with it. Like you said, it's
That
it's it's
one.
it's it,
Here,
it
let me
I can
pause you
see
for a
their
second.
logic why they took it away, because it is their property and it's causing a nuisance, and I totally get that.
Well,
And that's where I can't probably get them back, to be able to do anything
well,
about it.
well.
So,
Here's the thing. I believe that anything you want to do, you could probably find a way to make it happen.
oh
But
sure.
but my but the question is, does my desire to have my freedom to feed these birds, in my mind, does my desire for that override the potential safety risk of children and other people from
Yeah.
these other things? The question
Yeah.
is it's not so much there's nothing I can do about it, but the question is given the fact that these are the reasons, do you actually want them back on your deck in spite of those people and their concerns?
Yeah. I mean, it's the way that you put it, it's probably best that, I go along with it and just, probably not even try anymore to, get them back, but I'll enjoy them another way though.
Well,
Like how enjoy him some other way. I
so
can
that's the
go
question.
out to the woods. Yeah, I can do that anytime. Just walk out to the woods and enjoy them. I could even probably feed them at the end of the parking lot too, but no, there's going to be an alternative to this, and I agree with what you said, because it is really, exactly what you said they said, um when they said they got to come down, and it's like, all right, and I totally got it then. I totally understand the logic and the reasoning behind it. But
Have you already
there was always
contemplated
that. Go ahead.
Have you already contemplated other options for you like what other options have you considered to have daily enjoyment of bird watching and
Well,
feeding?
I watch a lot of. I'll just, like, while I'm working from home right now, I busted my foot, broke it actually. So I'm normally a delivery person,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm working from home right now and working with accounting department. Go accounting. And yeah, we hide back in dark closets. Yeah. But no, so I broke my foot, and while I'm sitting here at work, I'll have like a live cam on of like Lake Superior, up in Duluth, Minnesota, of the bridge area. It's really cool. It's fun to watch it in the morning, and then I'll have another live stream going with just some birds on it. So
Have
I
you
can.
have you ever thought of creating your own live webcam of birds that you're responsible for
I
feeding?
ha- I have. I've done that.
Okay.
It's on my I think I still have them up on my YouTube channel.
So
But no,
so it's your
I've
own.
streamed for hours,
No,
hours.
is it your own? What I'm asking is it your own webcam
Yes.
that's streaming it, and it's your own
Yes.
bird feeders?
Yes. When I had the bird feeders, yep. Yep. And the hummingbird feeders. Yep.
No, that's what was taken away though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
My question for you, have you thought about setting that up in another location?
In another location. I haven't gotten that far, but that is a good suggestion.
Yeah.
I that could probably be done. Because to be honest, I have pretty good Wi-Fi right to my garage because I have like a I'll say it quietly because they listen Google. Um, I have really good internet out in my garage where I could run cams out there, and I have in my garage. I've done some live cams of what goes on in the garage when the garage door is closed. You'll never know. Well, watch my webcam because you're gonna find out tonight. And I put it on night vision, and yeah, there's all kinds of creepy crawly things that you don't know about until you put a webcam out in a garage.
So my thinking is, how important is this, and
And
what would be my budget? So, for example, let me just share with you how crazy, if this were really an issue for me, here's Cliff Ravenscraft's solution to this issue.
I think I already know where you're going with this.
I'm gonna grab my Starlink Mini,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna have a lithium iron phosphate battery, and I'm gonna have a solar panel, and I'm going to take that out into the woods. Now, I'm going to have permission from whoever owns that particular part of land. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a place in clearing in the woods where I've been given permission to set up a bird feeding and watching / streaming station. And so I'm going to build an incredible, not just a few birdhouse. I'm talking a bird feeding complex that I'm going to sit out there. And I'm going to then create an enclosure that has a solar panel that faces the sun. It's going to have a LifePo 4 battery and a solar charger. And it's going to have a Starlink Mini. And by the way, Starlink Mini, you can get this thing that's $10 a month if you wanted to get that plan. And I think if you're streaming compressed video enough, you might be able to get by on that plan. If not, the question is it worth, $50 a month or something like that for you? So you could get by on either of those. But then now you actually have this, and who knows, you could possibly even turn this into something that becomes a monetized piece, one of what we call live windows. So if you could actually, there are a number of people who like to tune into live streams of beautiful things. And I think there are certain live stream webcams that are super high def where they have 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9,000 people all out there viewing this thing. And if that's all streaming live, every time somebody goes to stream live I guess on YouTube, they would put a 30-second ad right before it starts the live stream, but I would actually set it up to where it doesn't interrupt it anywhere in. Anyway, there's some crazy wild stuff that I could think of that I might consider.
I knew you were gonna go like way out there because everything you do is way out there.
Yeah, why not?
And why not? Why not? Why not? Exactly. Why not? And no, it's a great idea. Great idea. I've thought about that because, like I said, I got good Wi-Fi all the way to my garage, and if I just literally the woods are right there, and if I set up some stuff over there,
well,
I've live streamed right up.
Yeah, be cautious about what you're setting up because the woods out there. Who owns those woods?
Who owns those? Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want to build on something where you don't have the permission. This is the key. I mean, knowing what you've already experienced, you don't want to build something up and then just have to have something else taken away. So whatever you do, if it were me, I would look for something that I could create that's long term and stuff like that. And who knows, maybe you could find some other people to go in, and you could actually create a little bird. There are people who are bird watching enthusiasts.
My little bird community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You bet,
dude.
Yeah. Well,
Cliff, you might be onto something, my friend.
Cliff, I'm always onto something.
There you go.
You are too. Man, it has been great chatting with you. Kind of a little dream come true here tonight, just to be honest.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's been great chatting with you, and yeah, I'll be here. I'm always
awesome.
here. So, but I gotta run. Gotta go do some shopping here, and I got my free ride coming because I broke my foot.
Yep.
So,
Well,
gotta take advantage of that when I can. So,
how long ago did it happen?
ooh, it happened on the 19th last month,
Okay,
and
so you still
so
got
I'm
a
already
couple
a
more
month in.
weeks.
I'm a month into it, and next checkup is 3 weeks from yesterday. So,
Awesome. Well, I trust
yeah,
everything will work out for you. Many blessings. Thanks
it
for
will.
joining me,
It
and
will.
I wish you well and
Thank
have a
you.
great weekend.
Yes,
All right, bye.
peace. Thank you. All right, bye bye.
All right, so real quick, if anybody wants to join me here on Zoom, head over to cliffravenscraft.com/join. As you can see, it is literally ask me anything. We can talk about any topic, and I definitely mean that. While I'm waiting for anybody who wants to join me on Zoom, by the way, if you are on Zoom and you'd like to join, all you have to do is let me know. Just turn on your camera and give me a thumbs up, and I will see you on the Zoom call here. And yeah, be happy to have you join. So, with that, let's see what's on the YouTube comments because I think we've got a couple here. Let's see. So Lou said, "Hey Cliff, great to see you. Thank you, Lou. I'm not sure if you're still out there, but glad that you are there." Sunrise at Planet Fitness. Yep, been seeing many of those. That's for sure. The Voice, who was here earlier today, said he had to go. I'm so super glad that he was there. Love these Cliff's notes on tech. Laughing out loud. Thank you, Lou. I appreciate that. All right, and with that, I'll take that off the screen. Oh, and then, yep, Lou is still here. Glad to have you there, Lou. Very, very glad to have you there. All right, I see that Alex is still listening in, just observing. I've got JRH, who's on the Zoom call. If you're there just to observe and listen in, that's perfectly fine. No pressure to join here, but if you want to join, you're more than welcome to, my friend. All you have to do is just let me know, and I'll bring you up and we can have a chat. And for those of you who are streaming live, if you would like to join me here on the Zoom call, and I'll bring you up on here and we can chat about anything, ask me anything. I'm here to be of support and encouragement. I'm not here to teach, train, no slides, no presentation, no pitch, no agenda. I'm just here to be of service. And I'm going to be here at least until 5 o'clock. And if at 5 o'clock I've pretty much don't have anybody to chat with, and I'll shut things down, but I'm going to hang out here until 5 o'clock one way or the other. And then if I get to 5 o'clock and I'm chatting with somebody and then there's 7 people in the queue, guess what? I'm going to hang out and talk to those 7 people for as long as it takes. That's what I want to do with my day to day. So if you are interested in joining me, it is cliffravenscraft.com/join. That's my spiel. I'm now going to go over and see if I got a LinkedIn message back from the person who's interviewing me. He says, quick 5 to 10 minutes pre-call to meet each other and get ideas for hooks for the podcast. Oh, if that's the case, I'd rather cancel. So I'm just going to put that in there. Quick 5 to minutes pre-call to meet each other and to get ideas for hooks for the actual podcast, which is 20 minutes. Quick 5 to minute pre-call to meet each other. Actually, hold on. Wait a second. So the podcast was 20 minutes. Okay. Oh, okay. The podcast is 20 minutes and 5 minutes pre-call. Robert Plant. Okay. So I need about 30 minutes total then. Correct? I'll just throw that in there. All right. All right, not much action happening here on the Zoom. So we got about 15 more minutes. I'll hang out here. If you want to know what I'm doing, all you have to do is go to cliffravenscraft.com/join. No matter where you're watching this, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, if you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, there's you should be able to even just click through and join and see and read about what's going on here. So let's go to Cliff Ravenscraft. I just want to see if there's any LinkedIn comments that have come up since I've started this, and I'll have to mute it here again in just a second. There it goes. Okay, no comments on YouTube, on LinkedIn. And let's just see if I am streaming still on Facebook. I am. And let's see here. Commented. Okay, turn off notifications for this post. Let's see here. I sometimes listen to your podcast out of order on a road trip. I listened to 771. I found great value in it. There's no right choice, and the right choice is the choice you make. Anyway, it means whatever path one chooses is the correct one, no matter what others say or the consequences. I like that. I can see that has been limiting me in the past. I'm reading a direct message somebody sent me here on Facebook. Okay, I would spend so much time listening to others to see if this is a proven path, weighing my options, planning, and eventually I missed opportunities. It's freeing to not overplan. And I'm just going to respond. I'm so thrilled that you found this insight through episode 771. It's freeing to know that any path you choose is the right path for you. All right. I am all caught up on everything. I got 13 more minutes if anybody wants to join me here. Ask me anything. Marco says, can you talk a little bit about the music videos you have posted? Sure. So my music videos are called Soul Songs. I'll just leave that up there while I'm talking about it. How about I do it this way? All right, right there. So yeah, I you know what, I'll just pull it off since there's the thing. All right, so the question is, can I talk about the music videos that I've posted recently? I've posted a bunch of music videos with lyrics on them. It's got a static image, and they're called Soul Songs. So one of the things that I had been doing is I was creating, or I was having conversations with a ChatGPT project that I had created called my Higher Self Project. And what I did is I programmed this particular project in ChatGPT to have a conversation with me as if it were my higher self. Now, you can do your own research on what a higher self is and various different ways of considering, you know, what is your higher self. But anyway, I have my own version of that. And my higher self would be the version of who I am without the limiting beliefs, without the fears, without the worries, without the doubts. My higher self would be the version of me that trusts and knows and has faith and is one with God, if you will. So that version of me, The thing is that oftentimes I will have situations and or circumstances that come up in life, and they might trigger all sorts of negative emotions because of beliefs that I have that are limiting. And a lot of them are fear-based worries and all this other stuff and doubts. And so what I would do is I'm like, hey, I'd love to chat with you about a situation. And what I've done is I've taught it to talk to me from the perspective of my higher self, reminding me of the things that are aligned with my values, my actual highest beliefs. And as a result of that, it was just some of the most amazing conversations were coming about. And it's like, yeah. It's like in all of the stuff it was feeding me in response to what I was sharing with my concerns or anything like that. It's like, yes, yeah, this resonates. If I can get out of my head and all of those negative narratives and fear, deep down in my soul, I know what I just read here is true. And oftentimes back in the day, before I had ChatGPT and before I had all of these AI tools, I would do this through journaling. I would write down, it's like, hey, there's a situation, here's what's happened today, and here's how I'm feeling about it. And I would just stream of consciousness, share all of my doubts, all of my concerns, all of my fears, all of my worries. And then after I finished documenting all of that in my handwritten journals, which by the way, there's a stack of them there. There's many of them right there. But I would handwrite in these journals what's going on, and then I would say, but this is what I know to be true, ... And then I would actually do exactly what I've now programmed ChatGPT to do for me, which is to speak to me only from the highest perspective of what I know to be true at a soul level, not at a fear-based mindset and limiting beliefs and negative thought level. And so what I've always had this history of, okay, wow, this changes everything. And then I would write down what I call affirmations. And over the years, I've developed a sizable affirmation file. I'm talking about it's many, 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 many pages of written affirmations. And back in the day, I would actually take those affirmations and I would put them in an app called Think Up. And you can find this app over at thinkup.me, M-E. And I would play those affirmations over and over again, and I would hear them in my own voice. Now, I have the ability to create music for the very first time using AI. And the tool that I use is called Suno, Suno, Suno.ai. And for $96 a year, which is the plan that I'm on, I have full commercial rights to all of the songs I create through their platform. And I can create up to the equivalent of about 500 songs per month. And when it sounds like that's a lot of songs, except for the fact that I could actually create lyrics to a song and have it create the whole 3.5 or 4.5 minute song. But if there's a part of that song that just doesn't feel right, I can hit regenerate over and over again. So one song might take me 17 versions before I get the version that I want. So anyway, but I quite frankly, with $96 a year, I can create a lot of songs every month. And so what I was doing, I'm like, I could actually create affirmations set to music. And at first I could actually do, I thought I could do spoken word affirmations. Or, gosh, I could actually ask ChatGPT to help me take this journal entry that I just had, this dialogue back and forth with my higher self. And I said, let's write this. Let's create lyrics to a song inspired by this dialogue. And my higher self project says, sure, here's some lyrics. And of course I work back and forth with it. And I'm like, okay, this one doesn't resonate with me. How about this? And we would go back and forth. And then now I have lyrics to a song. And then I go over to Suno.ai and I click create. I have the name of the song, I have the lyrics to the song, and then I hit and I created a persona of a female voice called Sariel Thornvale, and it is programmed to have a female voice, Egyptian chill wave type music, meditative kind of ambient sound, and with all of that, I hit generate, and it gives me 2 versions of this song with these lyrics and all of these styles that I've set up. And I listen to both of them, and it's very rare that I ever get a song the very first time out of the first 1 or 2 versions that it's created. It's happened maybe once. But even then, it needs a little tweaking, and you can tweak songs that you could take a version that they have, and it's like, okay, only a section of this needs to be tweaked. But it gets a little iffy when you start tweaking a song and generating replacement sections. But I've done it anyway. But what I'll do is I'll go through until I finally get a version of a song that is like, okay, this right here, and I'm holding my chest, I'm holding my fingers up and down my chest. This resonates with every part of my being. As I hear this, as I close my eyes and I listen to the music, and as I hear the lyrics, and I just, this resonates at such a deep level. This speaks to my soul. And I got to tell you, I would just, what I did is I just put it in my Apple Music library and I synced it to my phone, and I created a playlist with all of my own soul songs. And I would just, these were just for myself. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Then I had a couple of clients and I was telling them what I was doing with them. And I would take our coaching sessions, and sometimes I take the coaching conversation we had and I used it as inspiration for lyrics for a soul song for them. And so I began creating some of those songs for them. Now, I have not published any of the songs I've created for others yet. The only thing I've published are songs that I've created for myself. But that's the whole thing behind them. And then as I started sharing some of my songs, some of the people are like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's such a beautiful song. And even though it was written for me, by me, for me, or co-created with a bunch of AI tools, there were other people that said, Cliff, I would love to have that song. Can I have that? And I'm like, sure. And then enough people said that I'm like, I wonder if I should publish these. And then I began doing some research, and I found that I could actually become an artist on Spotify and Apple Music, and I could publish albums. And so now I actually have 2 albums, Soul Songs Volume 1 and Soul Songs Volume 2, on Apple Music and Spotify and a bunch of other music platforms as well, like Amazon Music and whatever. But yeah, so that's those things. Of course, the videos were created because some of the lyrics are not, unless you know the lyrics, some of the lyrics are hard to understand, and some of them could be misheard because, I know what the lyrics are, and sometimes I listen, it's like, it's kind of tough to pick that out, and it almost sounds like it says this, and that changes the meaning. And so I decided to go in and use Descript, video editing tool, to go in and do auto captioning, and it did a pretty decent job, but the music kind of messes it up. So I actually had to go in and manually create and fix all of the lyrics to each of the songs for Soul Songs Volume 1 and Volume 2. And as I was finishing each of those videos, I started to upload them to YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And so there you go. That, Marco, is me talking a little bit about the music videos that I have posted recently. So thank you for the question. I appreciate it. All right, it is 5 o'clock, and I don't see anybody else popping into the Zoom. This is last call. Oh, wait, there's a post here. Let's see here. So I don't know that this whole message will fit, but we'll see. Let's see if we can do this. All right. JRH says, hey, not planning to join. We spoke. Oh, hold on. There we go. Let's try that. Not planning to join. We've spoken directly before, and I get terribly nervous when even one-on-one with you. Let's see here. But I've been long curious since you're doing Ask Me Anything in the Green Room Mastermind. How much influence would you say the mastermind has on the various members' professional projects and decisions about the directions that you guys go in? I have closely followed four of you, and it's interesting over the years to see how each of you have all pivoted over the years. Just curious. I don't want to hold you up. I have to cut out by 5:15 myself. Just thought I'd ask. Well, thank you so much for the question. And so, how much influence does the Green Room, each of us, have over the lives of each other in the group? I would say there's a significant amount of influence. We've been together. Pat Flynn and I have been together every week since October 2010. The other guys joined the group. The other four members joined the group in 2012. And so we've met every week since then. And each week, one of us is in the hot seat for 50 minutes. And so when we're in the hot seat, we talk about our life, what we're up to, what's going on in our business, what are the projects that we're working on. And I can tell you right now that we bring up practically everything that is anything of importance into our hot seats with each other. And it's not necessarily that we're looking for validation that we have to get the stamp of approval from everybody in this group before we move on. There's been a number of things that I've thought about doing, making pivots where people in one hot seat I had, every single person on the call, there was one person missing that day. That was Ray Edwards. But every person on the call was there. They were absolutely opposed to me shutting down all of my income streams related to Podcast Answer Man. And in spite of that, they could not influence me to not shut down all of those income streams because they didn't fully grasp the depths of my soul that just was not in alignment with answering technical questions related to podcasting. And then they say, no, Cliff, we get that. All we're saying is hire somebody else to do that for you. And I'm like, equally as much, I desire not to manage someone else who is actually doing that for me. It's like, no, I just want to be done with that. I want to acknowledge that Podcast Answer Man was an amazing 12-year season of my life, and I'm ready to move on. And I didn't get any of them in that call who said, Cliff, we think this is a great idea. Wishing you well. And they still wished me well, but leaving that meeting, it's like, man, we think you're making an incredibly big mistake. Now, the interesting thing is that since then, when they saw the things that I was doing and they began to see some of the success and how I was freed up and how it's like, okay, now I kind of get it. Now, interestingly enough, had Ray Edwards been on that particular call that day, I would have had at least one other person. Chances are it might have influenced some of the others. But what I'm getting at is this mastermind group experience is not necessarily so that these people will help you have clarity that what you're doing is the right thing. In fact, if you check out episode 771 of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, there's an entire episode. There is no such thing as the right path. There is no right decision. There is no next right step. There's only the next step you take. And there's no wrong step. There's only the step you take. So but to say that, I want to give that example first, that there are many times when you could get advice from a group of people in your mastermind and you decide that, wow, I thank you for all of the different perspective. There are a couple of things that you brought up that I had not considered, but in spite of that additional information now brought to my attention, I still am going to go in this direction. However, even in that scenario, they had influence because they actually even gave me greater clarity on just how important this decision was for me to go in this direction. They gave me even more reasons why I should consider not doing it, and that even in the fact that I actually still was going to choose to go in this other direction, it just even made it that much more clear that yeah, I know in my heart it's like there's not even a doubt in my mind that I'm shutting this down. So now, with that being said, there's a number of times when people's like, I'm just not sure. I really want to do this. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I should just give up. This seems like it's impossible. And the number of times that our group has come together and helped somebody piece something together that wouldn't have happened otherwise. I will share my paraphrased version of a story that Pat Flynn recently talked about in one of his groups. And he basically said, let's see here. What's this say? It says, you have precedent for making such major decision, leaving insurance business. Yes, absolutely. But anyway, so Pat shared this recently in some of his platforms. If you didn't know, Pat just recently wrote another book using a traditional publisher. It's called Lean Learning. Hold on. It's right here, Lean Learning. And this book right here, he had gotten an advance from a publisher to write this book, and he had lots of other projects going on at the same time as he was in the process of living up to the commitment of writing this book with agreed upon dates. I won't go into the nuances of the details that he had shared, but what happened was, through some communication breakdown with the publisher, it came to a point where Pat was given 2 weeks to essentially rewrite almost the entire book. And he's like, hello, why could I submitted this to you months ago, and now you're asking, you've gone through and you've asked it, and you want this much rewritten, and you've got a deadline of 2 weeks? And at that point, Pat came into our green room and he's like, I'm thinking about just dumping this. I don't know if I have time for this, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And he goes, what do you guys think? And we basically helped him reconnect with the reason why he wanted to write the book in the first place. We helped him get back into that state of mind that helped him, that really got him the momentum going to establish a relationship with a publisher and all of the things that he had hoped to accomplish with the book. And once we got him there, and then we said, okay, what would it take? As impossible as it seems, what would it take for you to actually deliver on what they're asking? As ridiculous as it sounds, what would it take? What would you have to do to make it possible? And of course, then he pulled out of himself what is like, gosh, if I was to agree to do this, I would have to, and he filled in the blanks. He basically, I'd have to do this. And then all we did is we asked, is it worth it? And then he asked, and there was a little bit more. There's a lot more dialogue actually that took place. But by the end of the call, at the beginning of the call, he was ready to scrap the entire thing. By the end of his hot seat, he was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm literally going to do the impossible. I'm going to rewrite practically the whole book in 2 weeks. And he did it. New York Times best-selling book right now. So that is some of the impact, some of the influence that we have. And the only reason I can share that is because Pat recently publicly shared that story. But yeah, I have so many stories that I know, that I'm aware of, and we believe in a lot in confidentiality. But to answer your question, we have a lot of impact and influence on each other's lives and the projects that we work on. And it's not just in business. It is in all areas of life. It is personally, professionally, spiritually, at every level. This is a very special group of people, the Green Room Mastermind. By the way, thank you for that question. Even if it's in text form, I really appreciate it. And he says, thank you. Love you guys. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right. So last call. I'll tell you what, it is 5:10. I said if there's anybody in queue, I would stick around and go longer. But here's what I want to say. If there's somebody right now watching me on the live stream and you would like to ask me anything about any topic where I could be of support or encouragement to you, here's what I'm going to do. I have this much water in my water bottle. If you were to go to cliffravenscraft.com/join, right there, cliffravenscraft.com/join, and click the button to join this Zoom call and come up here and have a conversation with me, I will stay on and chat with you. But if that does not happen by the time I finish this water bottle, and I'm not going to drink it all in one drink, so you have a minute or two. All you have to do is type it in, cliffravenscraft.com/join, scroll down, click that little join the live Zoom call button there, and I'd love to chat with you about anything. And if that does not happen, it's not a problem. I'm not here to impress anyone. I'm not here worried about my reputation. If I sit here in silence all by myself, I literally want to devote a significant amount of my life just showing up, being available to be of support and encouragement. So if that resonates with you, cliffravenscraft.com/join. This is how much time we have left. It's like my hourglass, if you will. Oh, goodness. What a beautiful day. It's a weekend. It's Friday. Look at this. Let's see here. Lou says, classic water bottle challenge. Thank you, Lou. I'm so delighted that you're out there listening in. Lou says, thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate it. I love Ecamm. You know what? The Zoom integration on Ecamm is spot on. Thank you, Ecamm, for what you create for us creators. The fact that I can do this live and bring in these Zoom calls, this is awesome. We're getting close to the end. I've had so much fun today. I've had fun this week. There's been some really great live sessions that I had earlier in the week. If you want to hear the highlights that I've had, episode number 772 of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. So just go to thecliffravenscraftshow.com or just go to Cliff Ravenscraft Show in your favorite podcast directory and listen to episode 772. There are 4 different conversations of the 6 that I had in a 3-hour session on Wednesday afternoon. 4 of those conversations are in that episode. Episode's 2 hours long, though, but it's good. I promise. I only put the highlights in there. And as you can see, time has run out. Thank you all so much. Many blessings. If you want to know how to be notified in advance of these live sessions, all you need to do is go over to cliffravenscraft.com. On my main page there's a place where you can sign up for your, what's Lou say? Text green game over. Got it. Awesome. Thank you. What was I saying? Let's see here. Oh, cliffravenscraft.com. There's an email opt-in form for something. I think it's my opening keynote address to the Free the Dream conference. But you can sign up for my mailing list, and occasionally I will give a little bit of heads up notice. I think today was only an hour. The other ones I did this week were a couple of hours. But as I get back from vacation, I will I will probably be doing more notice. Marco says, do you have the ambition to write a book? Yeah, but I'm in no rush. Absolutely no rush. I actually started the project and kind of got bored with it. I like to talk a whole lot more than I like to write. So we'll see. Anyway, many blessings. Talk to you soon. Until next time, I wish you great peace, love, joy, the kind that is really, truly, authentically only available from inside. And it will never be found long term from anything you're pursuing on the outside. Many blessings. We'll talk soon and have a great weekend.